Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Show. This is Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. If you're a first-time listener, thanks for stopping by. My name is Josh Lilquist, and we are happy to have you with us today. Once again, it's been a while since I said this, but I have Mr. Blue Man Group in the studio here today, Mr. Al Connickson. How are you doing today?
I'm not feeling blue. I'm feeling pretty good, Josh. How about you?
Well, I was referring to your
I have
shirt.
a blue shirt on, yes, I do.
That's why I call you the Blue Man Group, and you're just so famous out there on the airways with all of our listeners here in the Twin Cities here. But, Al, we could talk about the Blue Man Group all day. If we were going to Las Vegas.
Let's go there must be something else we could talk about today.
We could talk about going to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's great. Let's go.
All right, let's talk about the financial markets. And that's what we do here on the show on Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. But first, our sponsor, Online Trading Academy, teaching people just like you for over 25 years how to trade and invest. And that can be with any asset and any type of style in the financial markets. When we talk about the different styles, that is your short-term income strategies or longer-term wealth strategies. That would be your 401ks and IRAs. And one of the things that we're going to talk about here today is trading in the zone. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of traders and investors think you just go buy a stock and hope it goes up, or sell a stock and hope it goes down if you're shorting. Well, we want to talk a little bit about how to have areas where institutional activity could be happening because they're moving the markets, and why we want to get in these zones so that way we don't have to be exactly right. Mm-hmm. And that's what the great thing about trading and investing is you don't have to be exactly right in your investments. You have an area where you want to get in, but then you wrap proper risk management. I like to call it capital management, so you're protected on both ends. And I want you to kind of dissect that here today, Al, as we progress in the show here in the first, second, and third segment here. But before we do that, as I feel like a broken record. I say this every week, but it's really what happens. It's been a phenomenal week in the market. S&P 500 really has had some good moves, a nice drop on Tuesday. So we've seen some good moves. We're seeing potential supply zones adding or creating here. Gold and silver, those still are really chugging along, slowing down a little bit, coming off a supply zone. So we'll see what happens there. We have the energy sector, which has really been sideways for the past, we'll call it, year and a half now. So there's opportunities every day, though. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about those opportunities. What's your take on the market? We've had some earnings this week as well. What's your take on what's happening right now?
Well, yeah, this is earnings season, and we're seeing, as we always do, some pretty good moves by companies that beat earnings, and then we're seeing the punishment of those that don't. But I think really what's happening, Josh, is that we've got two major macro forces at work right now. One is the inflation issue and the concern about increasing inflation, mm-hmm. and the other is fear of recession. It looks more and more like we will be entering a recession. And when you think about it, the Fed has been trying for quite a while now to reduce inflation with somewhat, they may be making some progress, but it's limited and not as quickly as they thought. And it may be that the only way that they can really, kind of help this situation is to almost force us into a recession. That's going to reduce demand. That's going to end up bringing those prices down. But you're right. This has been a great week in the market. You know what? Almost every week is a great week if you know what you are doing. And that means having the opportunity, knowing the strategies and the assets to use to benefit in up markets, down markets, and sideways markets. Mm-hmm. But I think it's been pretty obvious to us, and I think it's going to continue to be more of a trader's market. If you look at the people that are buy and hold people, they may see these periods of time when we have some nice returns on the market and they start to feel good, only to have that taken away. Because if you look at the Dow and the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, we're trading now pretty much back what we did 2 years ago. So that's 2 years really where there really hasn't been much progress overall if you're just holding on to something. But if you're looking at taking advantage of the movements that the market's providing during that 2-year time period, if you pull up charts, you can see a number of trading opportunities that were available there.
You mean you look at the S&P 500, we talked about a great supply zone back in February of 2022. that first drop that it came in and retraced and then dropped right out of that. And we've been seeing supply and demand zones create. It's actually coming off a supply zone right now. So that's those zones that we kind of kick the show off with.
Exactly. And if you look at the movements where the opportunities have been to benefit, it can really be as simple as following the money. You know, if you ever watch these crime shows on TV where they're looking at it, they're mostly where somebody has been murdered or has disappeared. The first thing they do is look at the money. They follow the money. Is there an insurance policy involved or a business deal there or something? And the same thing is true in the financial markets. It's following the money. And what I mean by that is that what makes any stock or any asset move, it's money going into a position or money coming out of a position. How much money? A lot. It's not Josh or myself trading. It's not us putting our money in or pulling it out, but it's the big institutions. It's the Wall Street firms. They may be trading hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars in one position, getting into or out of. That's enough movement, or that's enough clout to have movement of that particular asset. And it's just keeping it as simple as following the money. Josh was saying, you know, that there are zones or areas. You do not have to be precise. You're not going to, unless there's some luck involved, actually ever pick just exactly the price to the penny of where you should be.
Yep.
But that's the great thing is there's an area which we can identify in a price chart where there is a good chance that the institutions are going to trade somewhere within that range, that zone.
And we're going to continue to break that down as we progress in the show here. But you were talking about, you know, if you've watched those crime shows, I thought you were talking about the news for a second, unfortunately. But
the news is even worse.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, you mentioned a couple things there, you know, the word recession and stuff like that. And this is going to sound a little bit different, but get excited if that happens. And what I mean by that is there are strategies. If you feel there's going to be a recession coming, or you feel like the market's going to continue to drop like it has been the past couple of years here, year and a half or so, there's strategies to profit as it drops. And we introduce you to these different strategies in these investing classes that we do here locally at the Academy. Because there are strategies for up markets, but there's also strategies for down markets, and we'll introduce you to all that stuff. So if you want to come into one of these classes, check them out. They're by the way, they're free. And they're about 2 hours. You teach these, I teach these as well. And these are classes where we've taught thousands, are different strategies that are designed to teach you to make smarter investing and trading decisions, as Al was talking about. So right now, text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. When you do that, you're going to get a text back. We have several days that we do these classes, so anybody can attend during the weekdays and on the weekends. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. Al, coming up next, we talked about CAT, Intel, and Oracle last week. I want to bring those back up because we have some opportunities in there as far as some zones that we had talked about that are getting pretty close. Coming up next, this is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live.